Hello and welcome to the Hypnosis Side Hustle podcast. My name is Rick Paddock. I'm your host. And yes, this is a podcast all about creating a hypnosis side hustle, a part-time business helping create an impact in the world and create income in your life. I'm super excited to invite and welcome Marian Spurgeon. Marian is a hypnotist, the owner of Quad City Hypnosis. She's an instructor with the ICBCH, the International Certification Board of Clinical Hypnotherapists, and a presenter at many conferences, including HypnoThoughts Live. Welcome, Marian.
Hey, Rick. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming back. You were with us recently, and we talked about the marketing and getting going hypnosis business. And you've been in business a couple of years now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the last episode of the Hypnosis Side Hustle podcast, you shared with the advantages and how it helped you to network, to get out, to talk to people, to find people that were open to it. And today we're going to jump into a little bit deeper, something that you've perhaps, and you can tell me this is something that came natural or something that you had to develop, and that's confidence and that presence of, I can do this, right?
Yep. Yeah, I think that it was a combination of having it already and also cultivating it. And I think that we have confidence in different aspects of our lives. And this is another hypnotic thing that we do as hypnotists is map across, right? So if I'm confident that I can talk to my client for an hour, then that can help me be confident that I can present. Yeah, so just talking about the importance of having that confidence in order to hold a space for a person to make a change. And it's, that's kind of like the basic level of confidence that you need to have for that unit, but also it's for all of your marketing activities as well. You're just putting that energy out into the world. Here I am, I have this awesome thing, and I want to share it with you. So I think that as we're doing what we're doing, we have to be very self-aware. Anytime that I notice that I have a little bit of anxiety or stress or lack of confidence, what I do is I just immediately go in on myself and I work on it. I'm like, okay, what is this? Do I need it? Where did it come from? Like, if I don't need it, can I just change it into something else?
And so I love that we do have the skills to work on ourselves, but as you began this, where did that whole confidence and creating expectations fit in the puzzle of growing your business? Was it like, oh, I need to do this? Did you make a decision? I need to step into confidence, or was it just kind of a gradually built? Do you remember the process?
Yeah, actually, I was like, yeah, I need to offer this confidently. I knew, I would say I did not feel as though I had good models when I first was trained in having that confidence. I feel as though I was kind of shown a way of holding this that was kind of like, don't say this, don't do that. Or, the pre-talk would be all about like how you're not going to experience hypnosis. And it didn't resonate with me. And actually that's funny. That ties into my confidence or my talk about tuning first. Like what resonates with feeling good for me. What resonates with feeling good for me is, focusing on what we are doing, focusing on what we want, and noticing what is out of alignment with that and not judging it, but just inquiring, having like this gentle process of curiosity about it, and then seeing if you can enlist it to do something else that would help you.
I love that. And so last episode, you mentioned that, yeah, you're going to be presenting at HypnoThoughts Live on Tuning Fork. So that was your reference there. And what I think I heard you say between the words there is your initial training there was a little bit more fear-based, and we're
a little bit more fear-based,
and step into love.
And here's the thing, like, I feel as though people are so open to us. People pick up on what we feel when we're working with a client. What you have to do is you have to be holding this space of like just total love and acceptance, and not having that. It's like that Bible verse, like perfect love casts out fear. It's like if we're coming from a place of love, then we're not afraid. Like even knowing what could happen, even knowing that death exists and illness exists and cancer exists and bad things happen, Like, we have to be able to somehow find a way to like draw a line around that's even bigger and say, even this is like all good, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Label all good, that, I guess admittedly, and we might be getting pretty deep here, that, love
Well,
is the only reality.
Well, right. So, I mean, like, just wrapping it in a layer of acceptance so that you can begin to deal with it. Because if you're coming at it from a place of pushing against it, you can actually like be exacerbating it.
Yeah. And so one of the common things for people that are new to the business as they create a side hustle, a part-time business, is, all right, how do I feel confident when there's so many unknowns? I'm so new to this,
Right.
I haven't seen enough clients.
Right.
What do you say to them?
Just create that evidence of your success in any way that you can, in the most persistent way that you can. Just like start finding people to hypnotize, even if it's just, one thing that I did that really was great for me is I trained with Stephanie Conkle and I did her profound somnambulism protocol. And there's not a lot of info for even other seasoned hypnotists about what exactly we're doing with that. And so I thought it would be great to just make a series of videos showing people that were undergoing that process. And I did that. I made probably a dozen videos of that. And in the process of doing that, I also got like such great stuff, not only for myself, but also like that I would want to share with others in the context of teaching. Like, here's how you could work with somebody who is having an abreaction from the very idea of going into hypnosis because she had a bad hypnotic experience before or something like that. You know what I mean?
Okay. I like that. And the other thing that you said I think is really powerful and that I've used is, if you want to gain confidence and you want to feel a sense of, I know this stuff, then teach it. And so you did that. You created some videos, and
Absolutely. And actually, there's so much that if you are a trained hypnotist, you already know a lot more than everyone else about hypnosis. So yeah, I think that's probably one of the major themes in my life is teaching through learning and learning through teaching.
I love it.
Yeah.
I started some meetup groups, and as soon as I would learn a new skill or process or science about neuroscience and about the way our brain works, I'd create a meetup, and we would get together and I'd teach. And that way I would learn about it and feel confident.
And then I think there's another little strategy that we talked about earlier is future pacing yourself, or deep trance identification, stepping into that reality that you want to be living, where you're seeing all the clients that you want and people are leaving you rave reviews and that sort of thing. And just step into that feeling place so that you can begin to do the things that make that real, right? For me this morning, that was posting on Facebook that I'm looking for a personal assistant. There's a part of me that's just like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm ready for that right now. And then there's another part of me that's just like, you're like, you can't do all the things that you're trying to do. You're burning out. And like, if I have too much to do right now, I am ready to hire somebody to start doing things for me. And so, but I had to step into that before I was able to do it.
So, yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit. So you mentioned the phrase deep trance identification, DTI, and future pacing and stepping into, to expand, tell us how you did that or how somebody could do that.
So just think about where you want to be, what it would be like to be there. And then just adopt that way of feeling. Just imagine that that's real now. Just kind of step into it. You could even imagine, there's a little ritual that I like to do where I step into the new reality. And then not only do I do that, but I also imagine that where I am right now is actually 6 months ago. And I'm looking back on that. Right. So yeah, here is where I am. That's where I was. And that is also a little trick for our ego, because we get so identified with where we are that it can make us a little bit sticky stuck. But if you see how I do this and you see how I roll, you can see how I was able to have 2 different office locations in 2 years of being open and make such fantastic process so rapidly is because I don't get too hung up on wherever it looks like I am right now, because I'm so tuned into where I'm going.
I love that. That's fantastic. And, quantum physicists will tell us that time isn't a reality, that time is a creation of our brain. So I'll tell myself similarly that if there's somewhere I want to be, or, in space and time, that I'm already there. And then I act as if I walk through like I'm already there. And take on all the feelings. And then similarly, deep trance identification would be, if you're really struggling with figuring out how you would be there, find somebody that's already there and kind of be them.
I have done that with so many of you darling hypnotists, and even with those who have passed away. Just kind of thinking and feeling, what would it be like to be them?
Yeah, it's very cool. There's a good book out there by the Carsons, I think Sean and Marian.
Pretty sure that's who turned me onto it.
Okay. The CIA pattern, Council of Informed Advisors, and it can be anybody. You pick who you want, and you can chat with them and talk with them and get their advice. And it's an awesome concept. So I love that. What else have you done in the last couple of years? You mentioned having a couple of offices. You mentioned networking, getting out and speaking, that you could recommend to other people that are new to the business to create not only that confidence in themselves, but to exude that expectation for change.
Yeah, just I think this might be the least favorite piece of advice that I have to offer here today, but like one of the ways that I developed my confidence is just by having a lot of small contained failures, running a lot of experiments just to see what would happen if I did this, and failing in a safe environment, but getting myself to fail and framing that as part of my success. And it really, really helps, not only with your life and your business, but also the way that you run your sessions, because at that point you realize that nothing can happen within that session that's not going to work out, right?
Yeah, that's very cool. So that's so powerful. Yeah, you could call them failures, or you could call them opportunities to learn. So if somebody was looking to create opportunities to learn,
I actually have go ahead.
I was going to say, what suggestions do you have for somebody to create those opportunities to learn, to be okay to go out and experiment and fail?
Yeah, dude, just like for example, talk at the Rotary. I consider like a safe environment to fail. They're probably, whatever you do, they're probably going to like it. It's probably not going to be any worse than anything else anyone does. And I'm just thinking, like, make a Facebook Live video. That you can't really fail at doing that, but most people think that they have to do it in a certain way before they actually start doing it. Right. Make a mailing list and send out an email blast, and and get over yourself when 1 or 2 people unsubscribe.
Yeah. It's so true.
Yeah, and also I would even like to frame repelling people as part of your success. Because if you're really good at what you're doing, you're gonna draw some people, and you're going to filter people out. And I would even, when that starts to happen, think, oh great, that means that I'm doing it right. I'm like creating this magnetic vortex where the people who need what I have to say are coming, and the people who do not are going away.
I love that. That's so powerful. Yeah, just and Brene Brown, has had some great TED Talks and some great books about being vulnerable. And it's really, vulnerability is in. People really don't want the absolutely polished person. They want to see that you're a real person. And so if that's stumbling on your words, or hitting the wrong button when you're trying to record something, or whatever it is, people can connect with you when they see you're a real person.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. So if somebody wants to get hold of you, what's the best way for them to get hold of you, Marian?
You can find me on Facebook, friend me on Facebook. You can also email me, marianspurgeon@gmail.com.
And what's your domain name?
Marian Spurgeon. And also I have Quad Cities Hypnosis is what I have mostly set up right now.
I love it. Fantastic. Well, Marian, thanks again, just not only for sharing your business building strategies in our last podcast session, but in today's about confidence, about building expectation, about stepping into what it means to be your best you. You're obviously walking the walk and talking the talk and doing a great job. And thanks for sharing all of that.
Thank you so much for having me.